Well, it was up until 9/11, the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil, and it happened exactly 15 years ago today. The Oklahoma City bombing of the Murrah Federal Building, 168 people, including 19 children, killed, 850 others injured. This morning at exactly 9:02, the time of the bombing, a moment of silence was observed at the memorial after the names of the victims were read aloud. The anniversary of the tragedy comes during a surge of political anger and rhetoric. A lot of Americans are not happy with the government and the direction the nation is heading, and that's everyone's right. As Frank Keating, governor of Oklahoma at the time of the McVeigh bombing, told CNN's John King today to have a group of individuals who have had enough of taxes and are protesting and are angry, that is really quintessentially American. Those individuals were out in force today, demonstrating in Washington and Virginia, pro-gun rallies by people who fear their Second Amendment rights are being taken away or threatened. As we said, a lot of people are upset with the government, nothing wrong with that. But of course, there are a few fringe groups whose views have become alarming to Washington. The question is, are they a real threat? Up close tonight, here's Special Investigations Unit correspondent Drew Griffin.
Not far from the Texas Capitol, down a dim staircase, is one of the new faces of a political movement coming to a boil.
9/11. Government conspiracy?
I don't know, but everyone should question it.
Obama, born or not born in the U.S.?
I don't know, but everyone should question that at this point, too.
We met Catherine Bleich in this subterranean bookstore called Brave New Books, where this leader of the Liberty Restoration Project tries to explain her anti-war, pro-community garden, and extremely anti-Obama conservative movement.
Are you necessarily anti-government?
No, I am anti-coercion and I'm anti-force. So I believe that any sort of government should be consensual.
She believes we, the people, are being unfairly taxed, illegally spied upon, and more controlled by a federal government that's starting to look like other governments.
Is this the direction?
I don't know.
But sounds like what you're describing.
Possibly. It's sad, isn't it?
Bleich is not a militant, is not violent, but she is a Tea Partier, a patriot, and sees nothing wrong with the growing number of gun-toting militias in this country.
It makes me feel safer. If you look around our society, who's actually committing acts of violence right now? Is it the people who are advocating individual gun ownership, or is it our government?
You tell me.
It's our government.
Stuart Rhodes is also anxious about government powers. He's a former paratrooper, a Yale-educated lawyer, and a former congressional staffer. He began a group called Oathkeepers, 8,000 strong now. It's aimed to teach military and police officers, current and retired, to refuse orders they view as violating the Bill of Rights. That's controversial, and many would say a recipe for anarchy. But Rhodes believes it is necessary.
They don't get sufficient training on the Bill of Rights. They don't get sufficient training on whether or not they should confiscate weapons, whether they should search without warrant, whether they should detain American citizens.
And here in upstate New York, an old hand at anti-government views, Bob Schultz. He's been preaching anti-government rhetoric for 30 years, and he's gotten in trouble trying to convince people they don't need to pay taxes. He sees the new movement on the right not as a threat, but a liberating return to freedom.
It's thrilling after 30 years to see so many individuals and groups springing up and beginning to talk about the Constitution.
All three share views that are not mainstream. But Bleich insists the conspiracy theories aren't so wacky if you learn the truth behind them.
Is the government preparing FEMA camps?
Yes, H.R. 645.
And you believe to intern U.S. citizens?
I don't know. I hope not.
That last one, that the government is preparing political internment camps, is growing in popularity largely because of this documentary, Camp FEMA, which examines a now stalled House bill, H.R. 645, calling for 6 FEMA camps to be prepared to hold large populations of Americans.
Is it possible? Well, sure. We interned Japanese Americans back in World War II.
What concerns them all is the political left in this country that labels them extremists, potential terrorists, and even racists, and what they see as a willing media, including CNN, that goes along with those labels. That includes the often cited studies by the Southern Poverty Law Center, including the most recent intelligence report by the group called Rage on the Right, which these Patriot Group members say
unfairly tries to link them with racists.
The Tea Parties and similar groups that have sprung up in recent months, the report says, cannot fairly be considered extremist groups.
But they are shot through with rich veins of radical ideas, conspiracy theories, and racism. Do you find that true?
No, I don't.
Bleish says the real danger is the current political climate that is polarizing all Americans. Tea Partiers see conspiracy between left-wing politicians and left-wing media. Liberals see Tea Partiers as potentially violent racists. It is politics as usual, says Bleish, dividing us all.
And I think people need to start sitting down, taking a deep breath, and understanding that we're all concerned about what's going on in this country. Everyone can feel it. People are hungry, people are scared, and we need to start working together as human beings and stop labeling and dividing.
Drew Griffin, CNN, Austin, Texas.